Good morning. Welcome to Medicare 360 as we continue our journey on the Medicare and You Handbook. Let us proceed. Last week, we were talking about how to sign up for Medicare. This week, we are still on that topic on section 1. So let's start on page 18. Important. COBRA, let's figure out what that actually means. Consolidated Omnibus Budget Reconciliation Act coverage isn't considered coverage based on current employment and doesn't count as employer coverage for a special enrollment period. So COBRA is typically when you actually either get fired or let go or possibly retired, depending on the situation. COBRA is there once you leave work, and you are able to keep your group health insurance for X amount of dollars. Typically, it costs more. Sometimes it could cost less or the same. So it really depends on this company. So what it's saying is that COBRA is not credible coverage, meaning once you are on COBRA and you are 65 and over, you should get Medicare. So the same is true for retiree health plans, VA coverage, and individual health insurance, like coverage through the health insurance marketplace, which is called ACA, or Obamacare, or in California is called Covered California. If you're considering COBRA, there may be reasons why you should take Part B instead of or in addition to your COBRA coverage. You have 8 months after your coverage based on current employment ends to sign up for Part B without penalty. Whether or not you choose COBRA, however, if you have COBRA and you're eligible for Medicare, COBRA may only pay a small portion of your medical costs. You generally aren't eligible for a special enrollment period to sign up for Medicare when that COBRA coverage ends. Go to page 89 for more information about COBRA coverage. To avoid paying a penalty, make sure you sign up for Medicare when you're first eligible. If you have retiree coverage, it may not pay for your health services if you don't have Part A and B. So let's kind of deep dive in this. If you are in this situation, I met a lady a few years ago, and she specifically told me she called Medicare and asked if COBRA was credible coverage. On the phone, they told her, yes, it is credible coverage and she wouldn't be penalized. So she decided to stay on COBRA, and the following year decided, COBRA ended, so she was going to get on Medicare. That point, when she got on Medicare, she was actually penalized for that one whole year. So please be careful, because sometimes you may have someone at Medicare, Social Security that's new to the position. Who knows, maybe had a bad day, had a brain fart, who knows, and will give you the wrong information. In her case, she had it overturned. However, it took her a year to do that. After countless calls, writing to her politicians, she finally got that resolved. And they said she got that resolved because they did hear the recording and they gave her wrong information. But think of all that aggravation, that whole year trying to overturn this penalty when it wasn't your fault. I wouldn't chance it. So just know, here on the Medicare Handbook, page 18, COBRA is not credible coverage. Although I heard they might change this, who knows, right? But as for now, 2025, COBRA is not credible. Exceptional situations for a special enrollment period. There are other circumstances where you may be able to sign up for Medicare during a special enrollment period. You may be eligible if you miss an enrollment period because of certain exceptional circumstances, like being impacted by a natural disaster or an emergency, incarceration, employer or health plan error, losing Medicaid coverage, or other circumstances outside of your control that Medicare determines to be exceptional. For more information, visit Medicare.gov or call 1-800-MEDICARE. Keep in mind also, I had one situation, where a client and his wife was on his group health plan. He decided to retire. They gave him a package and they said, we'll give you free health insurance for like a year or two. I specifically asked them to ask their company if it is credible coverage, and they said, yes, it was. So in this case, when they were ready to get on Medicare, they sent the forms for their company to complete to say that they had credible coverage. This company was a large company, would not want to sign it. I don't know why, because it just basically says like when do you have coverage, right? Did it end? But they didn't want to sign it. And unfortunately, this person and his wife are penalized for the rest of their lives. It may not be like thousands of dollars, hundreds of dollars. I don't have the figures right now, but I mean, it's just that penalty that's just unfortunate. So you need to make sure that that HR division of that company will sign off on it. So sometimes better safe than sorry. Make sure everything's in writing so you can fight for that as well. So keep that in mind. Important, if you recently lost Medicaid and you now qualify for Medicare, but it didn't sign up for Medicare when you first became eligible, you may be able to sign up for Part A and Part B without paying a late enrollment penalty. If you already have Medicare but lost Medicaid, you also have coverage options. For more information, check out the Losing Medicaid fact sheet. So just on our general note on Medicaid and Medi-Cal in California, there's a lot of redeterminations that have been going on lately. During COVID, I believe Medicaid and Medi-Cal, it was very easy for you to get on Medicaid, Medi-Cal without really any verifications. People may have lost their job or got laid off or quit. However, now the redeterminations were starting to happen a year or two ago, but I'm only seeing it more so lately that clients have been getting redetermined. So meaning now social services has actually had time to go over and review your file. If they find that you're actually making more in Social Security or making more income, started work, or so forth, they are either sending you a packet that basically says, can you verify your income? So if your income is over those limits, you will not qualify for Medicaid or Medi-Cal. And that would give you an open enrollment period to change your plans because the plan you are on actually might be only for a Medicaid or Medi-Cal person. So please, review your plan at that point. I've also had recently, because Part B is 185 and Medicaid, Medi-Cal is typically paying for that, these seniors, especially if they have a spouse times 2, find it very expensive. So there are plans that might add better benefits or actually give you a Part B give back, rebate back. A lot of people ask me, well, what is that? These Part B give back plans, typically what they do is if, let's just say you're paying the standard Part B of $185 for 2025 per month, they are giving you money back as a give back to your Social Security. So let's just say they are giving you $150 back. So when Social Security deducts your Part B of 185, that particular insurance company will pay you 150. So essentially 185 minus 150 is $35. So that might be something that you might be interested in if you're looking to save money. But of course, when you get on a plan like that, there are pros and cons. That's why please call me and I will help you on that as well. If you are not getting Social Security just yet, you are being billed for your Medicare, then eventually up to 3 months, the insurance company will start telling Social Security that they're paying, say, $150, then your bill should show a total of $35 that you have to pay. Let's go over the general enrollment period. You sign up for Part B during the general enrollment period from January 1st to March 31st each year. The general enrollment period is if you missed your initial enrollment period and don't qualify for a special enrollment period. You could also buy Part A during this time if you don't qualify for premium-free Part A and you missed your initial enrollment period. So typically, if you didn't work for more than 10 years or 40 quarters, you may not qualify for premium-free Part A. So there are tiers to that you may have to pay. So I think better to get a job and get those quarters, those credits. That's page 22 to 23. When you sign up during the general enrollment period, your coverage starts the first day of the month after you sign up. So let's just say you signed up in February, then it will be effective in March. Not sure if you qualify for the enrollment period, visit medicare.gov or call 1-800-MEDICARE. Of course, you call Premier 360. Me, Jennifer Lee, your host today. I don't think I even said I was the host today. What a Monday morning. Okay. So now let us go to page 19. I have other health coverage should I get Part B. This information can help you decide if you should get Part B based on the type of health coverage you may have. Okay, so employer or union coverage. If you or your spouse or family member, if you have a disability, are still working and you have health coverage through that employer or union, go to page 21 and find out how your coverage works with Medicare. You could also contact the employer or union benefits administrator for information. This includes federal or state employment and active duty military service. It may be to your advantage to delay Part B enrollment while you still have coverage based on you or your spouse's current employment. Coverage based on current employment doesn't include COBRA or similar continuation coverage after employment ends, retiree coverage, VA coverage, individual health insurance coverage like the health insurance marketplace, or former employee coverage you get through severance or a layoff. So biggest thing, former employer coverage you get through a severance or layoff. So that was the situation that my client had run into. This, I was going to say, that's why it's always best to contact your employer or your union benefits administrator to see what are their requirements and then compare it to Medicare and contact me after that. So TRICARE. If you have TRICARE, what is TRICARE? It's a health care program for active duty and retired service members and their families. You generally must sign up for Part A and B when you're first eligible to keep your TRICARE coverage. However, if you're an active duty service member, or an active duty family member, you don't have to sign up for Part B to keep your TRICARE coverage. So for more information, contact your TRICARE contractor, go to page 90. If you have CHAMP VA coverage, you must sign up for Part A and B to keep it. Call 800-733-8387 for more information about CHAMP VA. So TRICARE coverage is a really great coverage. You may really want to compare TRICARE and then other plans on the market or supplement it, depending on your current situation with your doctors and your surgeries, your drugs, and so forth. Everyone is on a case-by-case basis. I meet people that they just stay on TRICARE, and I do meet clients that want additional benefits. And if it works like a puzzle, it may work and may not. That's why it is good to consult with a licensed insurance agent. So Medicaid. If you have Medicaid and don't have Part B, Medicare will pay first for the Part A services Medicare covers. You may also be able to get help from your state to help for Part A and Part B premiums through the Medicare Savings Program. Go to pages 91 to 92 to learn more about signing up for Part B. Go to page 15. I have seen this a lot, more so for my clients that are on Social Security disability for more than 2 years. They get their Medicare card, they got Medicare, and then the Social Security starts deducting the Part B premium of $185. However, if you're on Medicaid and Medi-Cal, you could get this covered. But some people do not know how to do that. So the Medicare Savings Program, you apply for that, and Medicaid, Medi-Cal will pay for those premiums. Sometimes they do coexist in where they know to pay that, but if they don't know to pay that, you're actually paying out of pocket. So I would definitely apply for that program if you're in that case, or just contact us. For more information on Medicaid and find out if you qualify, visit medicaid.gov/about-us/benefree-resources/index.html #state menu, or call 1-800-Medicare to get the phone number for your state's Medicaid office. Okay, so let's go on to page 20. Let's talk about health insurance marketplace. Even if you have marketplace coverage or individual health coverage that isn't based on current employment, you should sign up for Medicare when you're first eligible to avoid the risk of delay in Medicare coverage and the possibility of a Medicare late enrollment penalty. Remember, that penalty is lifetime. If you have marketplace coverage, you should end your marketplace coverage in a timely manner when you become eligible for Medicare to avoid an overlap in coverage. Once you're considered eligible for premium-free Part B or already have Part A with a premium, you won't qualify for help from the marketplace to pay your marketplace plan premiums or other medical costs. If you continue to get help paying your marketplace premiums, you may have to pay some or all the help you got when you file for your federal income taxes. So keep that in mind. Sometimes I do meet people on the individual insurance marketplace plans. For some reason, their agent says to keep it. That's very false, and you'll get penalized. To find out how to end your marketplace plan or marketplace savings, visit when your Medicare coverage begins, visit the healthcare.gov/Medicare/changing-from-marketplace-to-Medicare. You could also call the marketplace call center. So of course, depending on the state you're in, every state has a different marketplace. Some will have it on healthcare.gov, but some, like California, has it through Covered California. Okay, let's talk about health savings accounts. You aren't eligible to make contributions to an HSA after you have Medicare. So what is a health savings account? Let's see if they wrote it down here. Okay, let's just read more. To avoid a tax penalty, you should make your last HSA contribution the month before your Part A coverage begins. Premium-free Part A coverage will go back retroactively 6 months from when you sign up for Part A or apply for benefits from Social Security or the Railroad Retirement Board, but no earlier than the first month you're eligible for Medicare. Depending on how you become eligible for Medicare Part A, the retroactive period may be different. Review the chart below to help decide when it's best to stop your HSA contributions. So HSA contributions are when your employer takes tax, you deduct from your payroll and you put this money into a health savings account, which is tax deducted. And then when you start using that money for health reimbursements, it's tax-free. So just keep in mind, if you know you are going on Medicare and you are on an HSA plan, to stop it 6 months before you do get on Medicare, because Part A will retroactive 6 months prior. Keep that in mind. So if you sign up for Medicare during your initial enrollment period, 2 months after your initial enrollment period ends, you can avoid a tax penalty by making your last contribution the month before you turn 65. And your birthday is on the first day of the month. Also, generally, your Medicare coverage starts the first day of the month before you turn 65. You could avoid a tax penalty by making your last HSA contribution 2 months before you turn 65. So keep in mind, you're just going to have to pay that, that tax deductible back if you don't remember to stop it. If you wait to sign up for Medicare less than 6 months after you turn 65, you could avoid a tax penalty by stopping HSA contributions the month before you turn 65. 6 or more months after you turn 65, you could avoid a tax penalty by stopping HSA contributions 6 months before the month you apply for Medicare. A medical savings account MSA plan is similar to an HSA. Go to page 67. Okay. Let us move forward to page 20. So how does my other insurance work with Medicare? So this might be a topic for next week, just because we'll deep dive into that. That's just a lot to cover in another minute or so, but hope you are enjoying our Medicare in Your Handbook journey. We're stopping at page 21, and we will move forward with this next week. So once again, my name is Jennifer Lee, your Medicare 360 host. Love to talk to you. If you have any questions, follow us on IG, Instagram on Medicare 360, or Facebook or YouTube. Very curious on where you are at your journey. But till next time, you have a wonderful day, a wonderful week, and I will see you next week. Take care.